ChatGPT. BuzzFeed lays off 10% of their staff and announces that they're going to be using OpenAI and ChatGPT to create things called listicles, and quizzes. And listicles are basically like articles, but they're lists. All those little lists that BuzzFeed always does. They're going to be using ChatGPT to actually do that. I don't know if that's why they laid off the 10% of people, but the announcement kind of came at the same time, which is wild. This is episode 1936, Krystal Ball and Saagar Enjeti of Breaking Points. I didn't realize that's the show that they host. Probably a great show. I'm going to have to check it out. I have not, all honesty, but I do like them in this episode. We're sitting at 1 hour, 57 minutes, 54 seconds. And they're about to talk about ChatGPT. And you're going to hear them talk about the whole BuzzFeed thing, but I'm just going to show you an article about it real quick. So BuzzFeed, let me just get there. BuzzFeed to use ChatGPT, creator OpenAI, to help create quizzes and other content. This is crazy. This is great. It's already happening. This thing has been out for how long? How long since you first heard about it? 6 months? 2 months? For me, it's like 3 months max. So it says, BuzzFeed Inc. said it would rely on ChatGPT creator OpenAI to enhance its quizzes and personalize some content for its audience, becoming the latest digital publisher to embrace the artificial intelligence. Read between the lines. They're talking about this thing enhancing. It's going to enhance stuff. Yeah, right. It's straight up making those lists. There's not going to be a person who's writing it and be like, okay, can you enhance it now for me? And anyways, it's supposed to be the other way around. From what I know, you're supposed to ask it to spit something out and then you enhance it. BuzzFeed is just straight up using this thing as an employee, straight up. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying. Yeah, straight up. When this thing can actually do a deep fake and all that stuff, it's going to be me. I'm going to be sitting over there in the corner and this thing's going to be doing the whole video. And how far does it go? But let's get into the clip. Let's go. Subscribe.
I can see you saying that.
Yes.
If you wanted to be grandiose, it was a very important
It'd be
point.
like that'd be like 90s politician, like, ladies and gentlemen, it's time we
Have you heard Lex Friedman talk about it, though? Lex was on my
gotten fully
podcast
through your podcast.
the other day.
I'd be
and
interested to hear what he has to say. Yeah.
He said Chat 4.0 is on the way.
Oh,
And
that's
he
right,
said
because
it's
it has
gonna
more
be-
information that's going to be available.
It's going to be
to it.
way better.
See, I listened to Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT. I heard he got a question about the fourth version because there is a lot of speculation that it's going to be like a whole other universe in terms of its capabilities, that it's going to be more closely approximating actual intelligence in a way that's going to really super freak people out. Like that's what a lot of people like Lex and others, I guess, are projecting. He was really trying to pour cold water on that idea, but that may just be because he doesn't want to get it overhyped. He wants to set the bar low so that when the thing actually drops, it lands with a appropriate, I guess, fanfare.
The real thing of concern is that this didn't exist 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and now it exists and it's gotten better really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Maybe it did exist 2 years ago, but it wasn't publicly consumable.
It didn't have a chat function.
Right.
That was a thing.
See, that's the thing is actually, this was, again, listening to this interview with Sam Altman, he was talking about how he was actually really surprised by the way that the public, when they got to play with it, were like, oh my God. Because in his mind, working so closely with the technology, this just felt like the next logical step. But for people who hadn't been deeply, enmeshed in the details of the technology, when suddenly you had this thing in front of you and you could play with it, and then you've got this like the image generators and whatever, that it kind of blew people's minds. And we've been talking about how you've got universities professors who are freaked out.
Yeah, this is our favorite.
About kids cheating on tests and using this to write their essays and whatever. And so I do think it's going to require a kind of entire rethink of the university experience, of what parts of what human beings can do are more difficult to replicate by the machine. Because the machine can spit out a Saagar Enjeti theoretical UFO monologue, but it can't create new ideas, right? It's lacking a sort of like creativity.
For now.
Yeah,
soulful,
for now.
Yes, for now.
For now. That's the real thing is for now. Because I think it's going to. And I
Well-
think within 5 years, it's going to be better at us.
Oh.
Better at being us than us.
But
I
that's
think-
actually important, and that's one of the fun things that we're seeing through the ChatGPT education, which I love. And actually, it's fascinating. We get a ton of feedback on those segments because it's a lot of college kids are fed up with bullshit busy work. A lot of professors are tearing up their entire syllabus, and they're like, all right, now we're going to go to oral examination. We're going to have a discussion in class. And I was like, that's great. That's fantastic.
That's
You shouldn't be
great.
doing a bullshit
Yes.
essay first draft.
But
It's like,
that also teaches you how to write, which is actually important.
Actually, I don't know if it does, actually.
Well, it could.
Well, yes.
Well, but
so-
if you have the comparison they make is to like the invention of the calculator.
Yeah.
It's like you still need to understand the math to know what to put into the calculator.
Right.
But you don't need to know how to do all that shit by hand.
Can we pause this? I have to pee so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
Let's be right
absolutely.
back.
Go ahead.
Let's use the
I need to pee
restroom.
too.
We're right back. Woo!
All right, we're back.
Think so much better.
Where were we
What
on?
were we?
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, yes.
colleges.
And cheating.
Yeah.
And I do think part of the freak out right now is because most automation that has like killed people's jobs has been service workers, has been blue collar. And now you have a lot of white collar workers who are like, oh shit, this could be coming for me.
Did you see
Well-
the BuzzFeed thing? That
No, I did
BuzzFeed
not.
hired ChatGPT, or is going to use ChatGPT to auto-generate listicles.
Yeah, they laid off.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
they just
they-
laid 10% of their staff
Oh
off.
my
Right.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
and by
this
the
is
way,
the big fear,
and their
right?
stock didn't their stock like
Yeah, their stock went up by, I
skyrocket.
want to say 95% in
Yay.
a single day.
Fire people.
Yeah.
Give you more money.
Yay! Hooray! What a great system we have.
Not great. Yeah.
But doesn't that leave room for Substack people?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
doesn't it leave room for creators that you get an obvious look into their mind and they take pride in their writing? I would say to young kids, I would say fuck around with ChatGPT. I would say figure out what it does because it's an important thing. But learn how to write. I think it's good for you. And I think if you want to get better at whatever you're doing that requires writing, like if you're going to be a journalist, even if you use ChatGPT to give you a framework, you should
Yeah.
learn how to be creative.
Absolutely.
Well-
It's good for you.
Yeah.
I do
You know what's going to happen? You know what every single kid who's in school right now who knows about this and sees him saying that, they're like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that. Okay? I'm going to use it. I'm using it. It's just like a calculator. I'll use it all I want and that's it. But the downfall of it is as you keep using, like perfect example, autocorrect. If you let autocorrect, especially when you're like writing things and it's like putting out the next word for you, if you keep doing that, do that for 6 months and then try and write without it. All of a sudden, words that used to come to you easily in terms of spelling will all of a sudden start escaping you because you'll start to atrophy in that way. You know, I think I mentioned this before. It's like back in the day with pressing the button on a door. You know, when the door just opens automatically, that used to just be for handicapped people. And then all of a sudden, everybody started using it because of COVID. Of the thing, you know, the thing. Jeez, I shouldn't have said that. But they used to open the door. Now everybody presses it. Now I see people, they'll press it, the door doesn't work, and they'll press it again. It's like they forgot, you know? You start to atrophy as you depend on these things too much. And where ChatGPT becomes dangerous is because it can think for you. It can start thinking for you. Instead of you having to think of a list of things that you want to write out, you'll just go to this thing and do that. And then all of a sudden when it's gone, you don't know how to come up with that list. You don't know how to formulate those thoughts anymore. If you don't believe me, here's another example. The grocery store. Grocery stores are normal. Everybody who is not 120 years old, we've always gone to grocery stores. But they didn't used to go to grocery stores. There used to be, in America, I believe it was, I won't say the exact number, but it was in the 90 percentile of people, of how much of your food was in your own hands to grow. Like you grew it yourself. It was like 90%, if not more. And then grocery stores came around. And then you started going to the grocery store. And then your kids started going to the grocery store. And then you stopped teaching your kids about the seasons and what to grow and this and that. And then your kids didn't teach your kids didn't teach your grandkids that. And then all of a sudden it was lost. And now if a grocery store closes down, what happens? Do all of us know how to grow food just instinctually? No. It's because that part of us atrophied. That's exactly what's going to start happening with younger people as they use ChatGPT all the time, because they're going to use it all the time. And honestly, here it is. Where's my tinfoil hat? I think that's what they want. Straight up. I think they want that. I think they want us to start atrophying in that way. Because the thing about it is, and I even made a video about this as well, ChatGPT is biased in so many ways. And when your thought formulation process slows down and starts to atrophy, you're going to depend on ChatGPT's formulation ability. And that mind, let's just call it the ChatGPT mind, is pushed a certain way, not only politically, but like in a lot of different ways. It's biased. And now that's how you're going to have to think, because so much of your own independent thoughts are going to be, again, atrophied. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds like, what are you talking about? This thing's only been out for a few months, but already look what's happening. BuzzFeed fired 10% of their staff. 10%. Do you know how crazy that is? And what's to stop a company right now that's like BuzzFeed starting up and hiring no one? Just hire maybe 3 people and they just keep typing into ChatGPT. Or what's to stop somebody from getting some kind of system where a ChatGPT talks to another ChatGPT and it just pumps out content? Like I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure somebody does. I'm sure someone can figure it out. I don't know, man. I think it's dangerous. You know, we heard Elon Musk years ago warning us about AI, and he had this quote of saying, one day, if we don't get ahead of this, we're going to need strobe lights in order to track all the AI robots, because they're going to be moving that fast. And if you don't believe that AI can move fast, I mean, look at this. We're talking about a company who's fired people and they're not sweating at all because they have ChatGPT. I don't know. And then Boston Dynamics. Oh, I got to do a video on Boston Dynamics. You put one of those flipping robots, those robots that are doing flips and backflips and all that stuff, and you put ChatGPT inside that thing, Jesus, punch a hole in your chest and take your girlfriend away from you. All right, I'm out.